Hey, what's up there, YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer 55551, and I am back with a My 2 Cent video for this week, for the week of January 18th to the 24th, 2026, where I take a look at a couple of stories that caught my attention and give you my thoughts and my opinion about them. And we have 4 stories to cover this week, including the first Xbox Developers Direct for 2026 that just happened. I just watched the video from yesterday, though. The Circana numbers that had come out, and apparently it paints what seems to be at least good news for the Switch 2 and all, and basically to figure out how things were going to be for the holidays and everything. We now learned about the possibility that a release date for the Switch 2 version of Borderlands 4 may have gone out, though. And rumors of the possibility that Capcom may not be done with remaking some of their old Resident Evil games and all. If you're interested in where I got the source of these information, links will be in the description of this video, assuming you watch this either on YouTube or Patreon. And of course, the timestamps will also be there as well if there are certain parts of this video you wish to skip to and all. But before we get started, I like to do what I like to call the quick My 2 Cents, stories that kind of caught my attention, but I'm not going to go into a huge amount of details and all. The first one has to do with the Switch 2 release of Dynasty Warriors Origins, as it appears to be that there is sort of a frame rate option, though. Now, there were some reviews that came out, and supposedly this wasn't mentioned, as the game was mentioned to run only at 30 frames per second, although for some of the reviewers out there, they did say that it was basically a good 30 frames per second and all. But now there does seem to be an option out there for a frame rate option, though, that does seem to indicate that it does at least boost it up to as close to 60 as it possibly can or not. Whether anybody who's getting the Switch 2 version decides to take advantage of this or not, entirely up to you, indeed and all. We also learned that basically Ubisoft is updating 3 of their Far Cry games to run at basically 60 frames per second at modern platforms. One of those happens to be, and is considered to be a fan favorite, Far Cry 3, which is basically getting a 60 frames per second mode and everything, which is certainly nice indeed for a game like that, though. We also learned that the former Reggie Fils-Aimé, former Nintendo of America president, has now joined the board of directors for the Hasbro toy company and everything. It'll be very interesting to see what he does at Hasbro compared to his time at Nintendo. Although I did read one mention about him maybe trying to convince Lawrence Studio to try to bring Baldur's Gate 3 over to the Switch 2, as supposedly there is a claim going around that there may have been some issues between Lawrence Studio and to try to bring Baldur's Gate 3 over. Whether that's true or not, I really don't know 100%. So it certainly is interesting indeed. We also learned that Devon Pitchard, who is the new Nintendo of America president, made her first public appearance as president of Nintendo of America at an event, though. Reggie Fils-Aimé sort of introduced her and all. It was basically a pre-recorded video, to be exact, though. I am very curious to see what she does as Nintendo of America president, though. It's going to be very interesting. There was some indication that she liked Pikmin, which if that's true, that's a possibility. We could see more Pikmin down the road. There is always that possibility, but we'll have to wait and see what her we'll have to wait to see what she is going to be able to do as president of Nintendo of America, whether she is sort of a behind the scenes like what Doug Bowser was, or more of have a personality similar to what Reggie Fils-Aimé was indeed. So time will ultimately tell on that one. We also learned that the studio that handled the 3DS games of Sonic Boom basically, unfortunately, had been shut down. Now, I believe the name was Shamuzi or something like that. I apologize if I'm not saying the name correctly, though. I do remember they did handle one of the Sly Cooper games. I believe it was a 4 Sly Cooper game for the PS3 when that came out. And then they did like 3DS Sonic Boom games, which apparently or basically I heard fared better than Sonic Boom Rise of the Lyrics, which had a whole bunch of issues when that game launched exclusively for the Wii U and all. And I heard the company shut down because of Meta buying these studios for their VR thing and all, and started closing these studios down. So very unfortunate indeed to hear that and everything. We also learned that a veteran Nintendo producer, Kenta Tabanaga, who has basically worked on several Metroid and Paper Mario games, has confirmed his retirement and all, which, he's been there for a very, very long time and everything, and I'm not really surprised to see him sort of retiring, if this is true and all. And I do think that it is going to reach a point where a lot of the staff that were there for the beginning of Nintendo, or around when Miyamoto joined, though, it is pretty much at some point they are going to step away from the picture. Even, I believe, at some point Miyamoto will eventually retire. As much as I don't want that to happen as a Nintendo fan, there is going to be a point where he is going to retire, though. So this really isn't surprising. It's unfortunate, though, but not surprising at all. I mean, I do like some of the Metroid games that he has done, though. I do enjoy Metroid Prime 4, even though I do think that there are some parts I don't like, but some parts I'm okay with, though, to be exact. So still, nevertheless, though, he certainly has put his mark in the history of Nintendo, including several games that he has worked on, though. So best of luck for his retirement. It'll be very interesting who picks up the mantle because the mantle of wherever he left off and everything. We also learned that Ubisoft has detailed basically several restructuring efforts, though, and this includes reset on 6 games that they are supposedly working on, delayed, canned several games, and shut down 2 studios and everything like that. Ubisoft has been in a tough spot over the years and everything, and so whether this restructuring helps or not remains to be seen. Supposedly, their stock took a hit after this announcement, but we'll see what happens down the road. One game that got canceled, however, that did become an unfortunate victim was the Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake that was in development for a very, very long time and all. When the first footage showed, though, it got hammered online by a lot of folks who thought the visuals just looked ugly and all. And so basically Ubisoft took away from who they had one studio handling it, I believe was Ubisoft Mumbai, and handed it over back to the original folks who were handled the Prince of Persia Sands of Time. Sadly, that game will never see the light of day. However, supposedly Beyond Good and Evil 2 is still in the works and everything, which who knows if we'll ever see that game indeed and all. So we'll see if this restructuring or basically helps or it has more problems for Ubisoft down the road, because right now Ubisoft, let's just say, isn't in the best of positions at this time. And last but not least, we are learning that supposedly basically Battlefield 6 may have outsold Call of Duty for the first time last year, supposedly, and this has to do with a lot of Circana numbers, which I'll get to, which, if that is true, that's very interesting indeed to see that, because at most points Call of Duty usually was at the top. But given where Call of Duty has been lately, though, and some of the response to Black Ops 7, it appears as though that Battlefield, which certainly got a positive response at launch, although that remains to be seen how long they can maintain that and everything, seem to have sat very well with a lot of folks indeed. And if this sort of continues, this could put Activision Blizzard and Microsoft in a position where maybe they have to go back to the drawing board in regards of Call of Duty in general and all. So if that is the case, then Call of Duty could have some real competition with Battlefield, though. But a lot of that will be based off on how well EA handles it and whether they end up funneling the ball again, or if they can continue to maintain this approach that seems to be doing very well for Battlefield in general and all. And in the movie and TV show part of the Quick My 2 Cent, we are learning that a new trailer was shown for the Star Wars Maul Shadow, or basically Darth Maul Shadow trailer was shown. It's going to be a movie on Disney Plus, though. Basically, animation is very similar to that if you've seen, Star Wars: The Clone Wars or Bad Bunch or Star Wars Rebels and everything. It is very curious, and it's one that I certainly will be keeping an eye on. I am currently watching through Star Wars Clone Wars on Disney Plus and all, and once I get through that, I'll probably see the other ones. But this one looks kind of interesting, and certainly one I will be keeping an eye out on, indeed. We also learned that supposedly there were rumors of what we could expect in the upcoming Sonic the Hedgehog 4 movie. Now, as some of you are aware, for those who saw Sonic the Hedgehog 3, the end credit scene showed basically Metal Sonic, and it also had Amy and all. Plus, it showed the shoes of Shadow the Hedgehog, which seemed to indicate that he is alive. Now, supposedly this rumor is claiming that basically that Amy is from like an alternate reality and all. Whether or not some of this information is true remains to be seen. Indeed, though, there's no doubt they're going to draw inspiration from Sonic's CD and everything. How much they'll draw from that remains to be seen. There have been rumors about the possibility of time traveling. That's also a possibility as well. And there has been some reports that supposedly Paramount is trying to get Jim Carrey to come back to play Dr. Robotnik. How that would work is beyond me in any way, so we'll have to wait and see. Right now, it is a sort of a rumor, so a grain of salt does need to be taken indeed on this one, though. We also learned that James Gunn is looking at a way to debut Darkseid basically into the game, into the DCU. Now, supposedly Darkseid has been mentioned in the Justice League movie, although it seemed to be more on the Zack Snyder Justice League cut and everything like that. But since Warner Brothers decided to sort of soft reboot or reboot the DCU in general, though, with James Gunn at the helm, it does seem to indicate that he's looking to bring Darkseid in. Now, how that approach is going to be will be interesting indeed. So time will ultimately tell, but I am curious to see how James Gunn is going to use Darkseid indeed. We also learned that supposedly we may have an idea of who the next villain for the upcoming Mummy 4 movie. Now, for those who are not familiar, Brendan Fraser is moving forward with a fourth entry in the Mummy series. Indeed, even after Tomb of the Emperor Dragon wasn't exactly that great for a lot of folks, indeed. There has been some claim that the Scorpion King could make a comeback in this one. How that would work is beyond me indeed. However, it does seem to indicate that his character, along with his wife's, the person who played his wife in the movie, though, both from the first and second one, apparently they are looking to make it will be in the fourth movie as well. So it'll be very interesting to see how this one is and all. I'm sure a lot of people are looking forward to seeing this one, especially for those who may have been disappointed with, Tom Cruise, the Mummy movie, which was supposed to start the whole dark universe, and we all know how that all played out and everything. We also learned that 28 years later, the Bone Temple definitely showed its box office, and it seemed to did okay at the box office, but it seemed to be done a little bit less than what box office predictions were basically out there making and everything. So it's certainly not in the spot that Sony wanted or something. It does kind of throw in doubt about the third one, which there were claims about a third one being sort of like a conclusion of the 28 years later storyline and everything like that. And Sony seemed to have committed to that in December last year. It remains to be seen if that has changed because of the box office return. So we'll have to wait and see, indeed, whether that does come to fruition or not. And last but not least, we are learning that supposedly Netflix has confirmed that they have changed their bid to buy Warner Brothers to an all-cash deal and all. The original deal supposedly was a mixture of some cash and stock, but it seems that they're willing to move all in on this. This comes off the heels of supposedly Paramount still, or shall we say David Edison, is still attempting to try to buy Warner Brothers, and Warner Brothers, at least for now, keep saying, no, we rejected what Paramount's offering and all, and we're going with Netflix instead. We'll see if anything changes this year, though. I'm still in the camp believing that Netflix will eventually succeed in buying Warner Brothers. Again, I could be wrong on that, so I'm not saying it's 100% guaranteed, but I'm believing more and more likely Netflix will succeed in buying Warner Brothers and all. Okay, with the Quick My Two Cent part now done, along with the movie and TV show part of the Quick My Two Cent, we'll get started with our first story, and this one has to do with Resident Evil and the possibility that some of their old Resident Evil games can get the remaster or remake treatment and all. Now, since 2017, though, Resident Evil has certainly been in an upward trend lately, though. Resident Evil 7 definitely brought the series back on track after how people, let's just say, didn't respond positively to Resident Evil 6. I thought it did at least improved in some areas from 5, at least from my perspective, though. But I can understand why not everybody was happy with Resident Evil 6, nevertheless. This also followed up with Resident Evil Village and all. And of course, we're getting the upcoming Resident Evil Requiem, which is one I am looking forward to, especially on the Switch 2 and all. And I believe a port of 7 and Village will also make its way over to the Switch 2 as well. But we also saw Capcom take a shot at basically remaking some of their old Resident Evil games, though. This started off first with Resident Evil 2 in 2019, which got the remake treatment. This was sort of in the works for quite some time, and it proved to be a very good remake indeed, especially with Leon and Claire and all. I mean, yeah, there were certain items here and there that did change it and everything, but it still was a very good remake. This will follow up with Resident Evil 3 getting a remake treatment. I believe that came out in 2020, which I was mixed on that one. I didn't think it was a bad game, but it was also a disappointing game, however, because I felt like Capcom missed an opportunity to add certain things or maybe take a different take on certain things, such as, how in the old Resident Evil game you had certain choices, and depending on your choices you made, your outcome could lead to either, this outcome or that outcome. Like, for example, at the police station, when Nemesis takes out Brad Victor, you could choose to confront Nemesis or basically choose to go into the police station right away. If you confront Nemesis right away, you won't be in a good position in terms of fighting him, but you will be able to search for Brad Victor's ID and basically unlock the room you need to go into in the police station. However, if you run into the police station instead, you basically don't have to fight Nemesis at that point, though. However, you will have to take a detour because you need a certain police card ID to basically unlock the room you need for your quest and everything. So I was a little disappointed that they didn't add that kind of feature in the remake of Resident Evil 3. Resident Evil 4 was a remake I didn't think need to happen, but they basically went with it anyway, and it was definitely a good remake indeed. Resident Evil 4 still remains one of my favorite entries in the Resident Evil series, nevertheless, and I still holds up very well, and the remake certainly was good indeed and all. So the fact that many did wonder if something like Code Veronica was going to happen or not, though, and there were comments in the past made by some of the folks at Capcom who did not think that it was going to happen indeed and all. Well, apparently a rumor, or at least a report from Dusk Goldman, who has leaked Capcom information before in the past, seems to indicate, at least according to what this person is saying, that we could hear about an announcement for a remake of Code Veronica and all for this year, though. And the possibility that Resident Evil 5 could get a remake treatment, indeed. So, anyway, but anyhow, in an article from Nintendo Life, it reads that, quote, according to Dusk Goldman, who has a history of accurate reporting in Capcom's plans for Resident Evil, the company will be announcing a remake for Resident Evil Code Veronica in 2026, thanks to Video Game Chronicles. Code Veronica, largely regarded as a mainline entry in all but name, has long been rumored to receive the remake treatment, and Dusk Goldman seems particularly confident that this is a real start planning, I promise you. According to what he said, one of the comments he said is, quote, no, this is not a Resident Evil 5 remake that's going to be announced this year. Instead, later this year, a Resident Evil remake that starts with the letter C and ends with Ode Veronica is going to be announced. I promise you. Questions arose around a potential remake of Resident Evil 5 after Eve Ladere, the voice behind Shiva Armor in the 2009 original, state that she got a few fun things lined up for March in relation to Resident Evil's 30th anniversary and all. So, do I think a remake of Code Veronica is going to happen? Well, given the success the Capcom's remake of Resident Evil 2, 3, and even 4 has had, given how well those games have done, I would say odds are pretty much yes. I do think that we will see a remake of Resident Evil Code Veronica. Whether Capcom announces it this year or whether it gets released this year, that remains to be seen, though. As far as 5, a remake of Resident Evil 5, that would be very interesting if Capcom decides to do a remake of Resident Evil 5 and how they will approach that one, though, indeed. Would they drop the co-op part altogether or fix it in a certain way to be sad, not to make it a co-op focus game? And if 5 does get a remake treatment, I wouldn't be shocked if they decide to give Resident Evil 6 a remake treatment, and wondering if they will completely overhaul that game indeed. So I would not be entirely shocked if Code Veronica gets the remake treatment at all. Yeah, it is a rumor, so a grain of salt should be taken with this rumor, but I'm leaning towards that we'll probably hear an announcement for Resident Evil Code Veronica getting the remake treatment. Whether that does happen or not, who knows? So overall, it is a rumor. It should be taken with a grain of salt, but I would not be surprised if Capcom announces a remake of Resident Evil Code Veronica. And on a side note, I would also like to see that RE engine used for other games that deserve maybe another shot, like maybe like Dino Crisis or Breath of Fire. And I'm just throwing it out there and all. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to part 2. And this one has to do with the Switch 2 version of Borderlands 4 and the possible release date and all. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of my 2 cent video, and for this one, we're going to be taking a look at Borderlands 4, the Switch 2 version, that apparently there is a possibility we could have like an official release date for that game and all. Now, Borderlands 4, which was released last year, went through, well, let's just say its release did not exactly go over well with everybody out there. And some of that, I would say, falls back on the CEO of Gearbox, Randy Pitchford, who has, let's just say his attitude has been very questionable in the past, including some of his comments he made, especially after the whole Alien Colonial Marines debacle situation, though. One of the issues Borderlands 4 ran into, specifically for those who have on PC and all, was there were some graphical issues here and there. There were supposedly reports of frame rates and all, and I do remember hearing how some PC users voiced their concern about this, and Randy Pitchford kind of fired back at them, putting out his unusual middle finger attitude. There were also some issues with the console versions as well, and supposedly there was footage of the Switch 2 version which was not running that great and all. Well, following that whole issue online and everything like that, 2K would then later put out basically what updates they would have for Borderlands 4, which is something that should have been done in the first place rather than this whole, back and forth that Randy Pitchford did and everything. Furthermore, there were also reports that the game didn't sell as well as what Take-Two Interactive wanted, though, that the launch was softer than what they had originally thought. Well, interestingly enough, though, the Switch 2 version was supposed to come out basically a month after the other versions were to come out. But just 10 days before that version were to launch, though, Gearbox put out a statement saying that they were delaying the game indefinitely to try to work on that to get the best possible version out there and all. And while some may figure it's better to delay the game than launch it in a piss poor state or anything, others felt like this could be what we saw what happened with the Wii U version of Colonial Marines, where after that game came out and the whole controversy surrounded it, plus supposedly leaked footage of the Wii U version wasn't running that great and everything like that, Sega basically pulled the plug on the Wii U version, and that what many feel like that was going to be the case with basically with the Switch 2 version of Borderlands 4, despite basically a developer video that Nintendo put on their, YouTube channel of Randy Pitchford talking about bringing, Borderlands 4 to the Switch 2 and all. Well, recently, a report coming out from a retailer seemed to indicate that the game may not be dead or anything like that, and it could be making its way to the Switch 2, possibly next month and all. In an article from mynintendo.com, it reads that Borderlands 4 was rightfully delayed on the Nintendo Switch 2 as, by all accounts, it was a bit of a technical mess on the platform. 2K refused to give a date for when we could expect the game to launch on Nintendo's latest platform, but news from a Portuguese retailer suggests that the looter shooter is coming next month, specifically on February 27th. Now, all we need now is 2K Games to announce the news and all. Now, granted, as of the recording of this video, 2K has not made any announcement at this time, and there's always the possibility that this retail listing could be a mistake. That can always happen, indeed. But at the same time, it could be true. It is possible that the game could come out maybe next month and everything. And if it does come out next month, though, I am curious to see how this game is going to look and run on the Switch 2 and all. So the claim was that it was supposedly a mess, but perhaps maybe Gearbox took the extra time needed to maybe fix the game and make it actually run properly on the Switch 2 and all. So we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, we've yet to see any new footage of Borderlands 4 running on the Switch 2, so hopefully we'll see some new footage before the game actually does come out, pending that this release date is accurate. Again, I don't know if it is or not, but we'll have to wait and see on that. So overall, it will be very interesting if this release date is accurate, February 27th for Borderlands 4. I'm hoping it's true, but we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait to hear what 2K Games has to say and all. And hopefully we'll actually see some new footage of what Borderlands 4 is on the Switch 2, and hopefully it's in a better position and more presentable than when the footage that we saw supposedly last year, where the claim was it wasn't exactly in the best of states and all. And who knows, maybe the Switch 2 version might do better than the other versions because of, despite Take-Two claiming that the launch wasn't as great as they had hoped for and all. And also, I would not, although this, I don't know if this has been confirmed or not, I wouldn't be shocked if the Switch 2 version of Borderlands 4 is a game key card. Again, nothing confirmed, but I would not be surprised if it is a game key card indeed and all. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to part 3, and this one has to do with the Circana numbers for December 2025. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 3 of my 2 cent video, and for this one, we're going to be taking a look at the Circana numbers that have come out for December 2025. Now, this one was going to be interesting because there was a report earlier that showed that, at least before these numbers came out, was basically there was the claim that basically the Switch 2 did not have like a great holiday, that sales were down or something like that, though. Although supposedly Matt Piscatella from basically Circana talked about saying a lot of people are kind of jumping the gun a little too quickly and saying let's wait until the numbers officially came out and all. But I was still curious to see how the Switch 2 would fare over the holidays and everything. And also with Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, which definitely got sort of a, depending on who you're asking, there are some people who are very mixed about some of the directions and choices Retro Studio and Nintendo made with that game in general. Well, the numbers have officially come out, and it seems, despite some earlier reporting that may have came out before these numbers came out and all, it seems, at least according to what Circana is saying, it looks like the Switch 2 actually did very well, indeed, over the holidays and all. And it seems that Metroid Prime 4 at least got into the top 10. Maybe not as high as some may have hoped for, but still in the top 10 nevertheless. So anyway, according to an article from VG Charts, they say that, quote, the Nintendo Switch 2 was the best-selling console in the US for December 2025 in terms of units sold and dollar sales, according to the figures from Circana. Circana included data for the 5-week period of November 30th to January 3rd. The Switch 2 was not only the best-selling console in December, but was also the number one for 2025. This helped offset the decline in the PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and Nintendo Switch. In 7 months, the Switch 2 has sold 4.4 million units in the US, which is nearly double the original Switch on the timeline basis. It also remains the fast-selling video game console all time through several months, as it's tracking 35% ahead of the PS4. Only a Game Boy Advance has sold more in the US through 7 months. The total number of consoles sold for months were down 8% compared to last year, while the average sale price increased 18%. The PS5 was the second best-selling console for the month of December, with sales around 30% year-on-year. The Xbox Series X and S came in third place, with sales down about 55%, and the Nintendo Switch 1 came in fourth place, with sales down a little over 70%. The Nexus Playground in fifth place, with sales below 200,000 units. So it seems to be that the holidays were definitely good for the Switch 2, indeed it all. And it'll be very interesting to see how 2026 plays out for the Nintendo Switch in general. So I am very curious to see how that one is going to play out indeed and all. Over in terms of the top 20 best-selling games in terms of dollars for December 2025, we have Call of Duty Black Ops 7 at number 1, NBA 2K26 at number 2, Battlefield 6 at number 3, Madden NFL 26 at number 4, EA Sports FC 26 at number 5, Pokemon Legends Z and A at number 6, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond at number 7. I'm very curious to see if it charts next month's Circana numbers and see where it stands there, though. So it's still not bad for a 7th, though. Minecraft at number 8, Donkey Kong Bonanza at number 9. Last month it was at number 14. Ghost of Yotai at number 10. EA Sports College Football 26 at number 11. Grand Theft Auto 5 at number 12. Sonic Racing Crossworlds at number 13. Forza Horizon 5 at number 14. Very curious to see if that jumps up, especially with the upcoming Forza Horizon 6 in general. Red Dead Redemption 2 at number 15. Flight Simulator 2024 at number 16. Yet this last month it was at number 114. So kind of interesting jump right there. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 at number 17. Kirby's Air Rider at number 18. Super Mario Galaxy number 2 at number 19. And Marvel's Spider-Man 2 at number 20. Over in terms of the best-selling games, for best-selling games in 2025 for the year to date, we have Battlefield 6 at number 1, NBA 2K26 at number 2, Borderlands 4 at number 3, Monster Hunter Wilds at number 4, Call of Duty Black Ops 7 at number 5, Madden NFL 26 at number 6, EA Sports College Football 26 at number 7, EA Sports FC 26 at number 8, The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remaster at number 9, Call of Duty Black Ops 6 at number 10, Ghost of Yotai at number 11, MLB The Show 25 at number 12, Minecraft at number 13, Elden Ring Nightingale at number 14, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 at number 15, Forza Horizon 6 at number 16, Pokemon Legends ZA at number 17, WWE 2K25 at number 18, Split Fiction at number 19, and Grand Theft Auto 5 at number 20. In terms of the best-selling games on the PlayStation platform for December of 2025, they have Call of Duty Black Ops 7 at number 1, NBA 2K26 at number 2, Madden NFL 26 at number 3, Battlefield 6 at number 4, EA Sports FC 26 at number 5, Ghost of Yotai at number 6, EA Sports College Football 26 at number 7, Grand Theft Auto 5 at number 8, Forza Horizon 5 at number 9, and Flight Simulator 2024 at number 10. Over on the 10 best-selling games, or best-selling premium games on Xbox for December 2025, we have Battlefield 6 at number 1, NBA 2K 26 at number 2, EA Sports College Football 26 at number 3, Madden NFL 26 at number 4, Borderlands 4 at number 5, Helldivers 2 at number 6, Monster Hunter Wilds at number 7, EA Sports FC 26 at number 8, WWE 2K25 at number 9, and Call of Duty Black Ops 7 at number 10. Over on to the Nintendo platform side for 10 best-selling premium games for December 2025, we have Pokemon Legends ZA at number 1, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond at number 2, Donkey Kong Bonanza at number 3, Kirby's Air Rider at number 4, Super Mario Galaxy, Super Mario Galaxy 2 at number 5, Super Mario Party Jamboree at number 6, Mario Kart 8 at number 7, Sonic Racing Crossroad at number 8, Minecraft at number 9, and Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment at number 10. And then finally on to the PC side, they have Battlefield 6 at number 1, Call of Duty Black Ops 7 at number 2, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 at number 3, Elden Ring at number 4, Elden Ring Nightwind at number 5, Red Dead Redemption 2 at number 6, Minecraft at number 7, Grand Theft Auto 5 at number 8, The Outer Worlds 2 at number 9, and Ghost of Tsushima at number 10. So obviously, the overall takeaway from this, though, is it's pretty clear that despite some earlier reports, the Switch 2 seems to be doing well, at least for now and all. And I think that certainly is going to be good news for Nintendo indeed. We still have to hear Nintendo's financial report, and hopefully we'll hear about that soon, though. Supposedly it will be in February, but we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, not bad for the Switch 2, especially as we get closer to, its 1 year anniversary and all. So it'll be very interesting to see what the numbers for that system is going to be down the road. Indeed, same with Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. Obviously, not a bad start for the game, but we'll see how it is when next month's a ton of numbers come out. For that system, for that game in general, though. One thing that could be an impact for the Switch 2 is the possibility of a price hike for that system. Now, granted, Nintendo hasn't announced any price hike, at least at this time, though, but there are many who believe that is a possibility that could happen. And a lot of that is multiple factors, ranging from the tariffs to the whole RAMs being used for these AI databases or everything like that. So there is a possibility we could see a price hike for the Switch 2. And if it does happen, it'll be very interesting to see what kind of impact that will have in terms of the sales for that system. So time will ultimately tell if that will be the case and all. But overall, obviously very good for the Switch 2 for December, though. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, not a bad start for it, though. Wish it was higher, though. But hey, it's in the top 10, so at least that certainly is a good thing indeed and all. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to our fourth and final part, and this one has to do with the Developers Direct that happened this week and all, that I just finished watching from yesterday and all. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with our fourth and final part of our My 2 Cent video, and for this one, I want to give my thoughts on the 2026 Xbox Developers Direct, though. Now, obviously, that's their, direct presentation that Microsoft does pretty much so far has been doing that for a while in January of every new year and all. And they usually have maybe three to four games though, and one supposedly surprise game though. Sometimes it's an interesting surprise, sometimes it isn't though. And this year though, Microsoft had, for the Developers Direct, showed off basically 2 from Playground Games, Fable, Forza Horizon 6, and we got 1 from third-party developer, Game Freak, with Beast of Reincarnation. And of course we had a new game from Double Fine called Kiln, K-I-L-N though. And after watching the presentation, I will say, I thought it was good. I think the highlight to me was obviously Beast of Reincarnation and Fable, and I think this Developers Direct was definitely good for Playground Games. Don't get me wrong, but I will admit I'm not sold on Double Fine's new game and all. So that's sort of like at least a quick what I thought about coming off the Developers Direct and all. So I'm going to break it down into what I like and what I didn't like, mixed and not 100% sure about. In terms of what I like, as I mentioned before, Beast of Reincarnation is still surprising me. The fact that this is from Game Freak, the same studio that does the Pokemon games, just really just surprises me indeed though. I'm liking what I'm seeing and everything like that though. I do feel I get a little bit of a sort of a Ghost of Tsushima, yokai, Biomutant, even a Neo vibe to it to a certain degree and all. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing and everything. And it is definitely one I would definitely be keeping an eye out for. And the fact that it's coming to Game Pass definitely is a plus indeed though. Obviously, we don't have any word if this game will be coming to the Switch 2 or not though. Would I like to see it come to Switch 2? I would say yes, I would like to if they could manage, if Game Freak can bring the game over to the Switch 2 and all. But still, it just still surprises me that this is from Game Freak of all studios. The fact that they can make a game like this, it just, to me, questions how they can do something like this. And then we see how some people complain about when one of the Pokemon games come out and they have to update and fix that one though. But who knows, maybe we'll see, maybe they'll learn something from this and maybe they'll apply it to any future Pokemon games for maybe when it's for Switch 2 Pacific or something. The next game they did show off was basically Fable, and this is one I have been sort of waiting a while for basically for them to actually show off some gameplay and all. And we did see some snippets here and there, but we finally got a really much a deep dive into it though. And I am liking what I'm seeing so far though. I like the whole choice and consequences kind of a situation. Indeed though, the combat still looks enjoyable and all. I am curious to see if they could get this game running at 60 frames per second. That would be very interesting if they can, especially onto the Series S as well though. But it is certainly something that's interesting indeed, and the fact that you can own property, own stores, marry like multiple people and all. I mean, it's really neat indeed and all. And of course they had a scene where basically someone's kicking a chicken and everything. So, but in either case though, this is definitely one on my radar that I will be definitely keeping an eye out for when this game comes out. And last but not least, and while I admit I'm not the biggest racing fan out there though, I will say Forza Horizon 6 does look interesting, but it also looks very impressive. Obviously for racing fans out there, that's going to be really neat for those out there. Now, I also like the idea you could like customize your your place and everything, but still it is something I will definitely give it a try, especially on Game Pass though. And the fact that the setting this time is in Japan, that's going to be very interesting indeed. I also thought it was kind of neat how they had the trailer, at the end of the trailer for Forza Horizon 6, they had what basically was a Mechon in the back though, and it'll be very interesting if there's any crossovers, like especially if there's anything with ranging from Gundam to even Godzilla for that matter. So it'll be very interesting indeed if that comes to fruition and all. But yeah, I mean, I'll admit I'm not the biggest racing fan out there, but it's one I will definitely be keeping an eye on nevertheless. As far as what I didn't like or mixed or not 100% sure about, I will say is, look, I got nothing against Double Fine or anything like that. I think that they have produced some very good games, ranging from Psychonauts to Brutal Legends. Would love to see a sequel to that one if that does happen, though. And even Keeper that I've been trying out, though odd, it's still an interesting game from them nevertheless, though. But this one, I'm not really sold on it. The Kingdom, though, the concept looks interesting, indeed, but again, I'm not really big on multiplayer type of games, so this one just didn't really click with me as much as some of the other games that were shown. Now, granted, I understand there are those who may be into multiplayer games in general, and that's fine. If you're into those kind of games, then there's certainly nothing wrong with that. And there's nothing wrong having a party game or a family game for people to try out here and there. So I'm sure there is an audience for something like this. It's just, for me, it just didn't really click as much, though. I'm sure there are other games Double Fine could be working on along with this one as well, but as far as I'm aware of, I'm just not completely sold on KILN, Kin or something like that, though. It's an odd concept, and again, Double Fine's known to do some odd stuff, though, but just this one just didn't really click with me as much. Overall, I would say this was a pretty good Developers Direct, though. I mean, it wasn't anything wowing or anything like that, like when we saw Hi-Fi Rush for the first time or anything like that, but it was still a good Direct, indeed. The big ones for me were obviously Beast of Reincarnation and Fable were definitely the ones that were the biggest highlight for me for this Developers Direct, and those are both of those games I'm definitely looking forward to. Forza Horizon 6, again, I'm not a big racing fan, but I might try that out in Game Pass and all. But at the same time, like I said, Double Fine's new game, again, it's sort of a multiplayer type of game, though. I mean, this one just didn't really click with me as much or anything like that. Like I said, I'm sure there's an audience for it, though. But for me, it just didn't really click as much. But in either case, I would say, like I said, this was a good Direct, not blow you away kind of Developers Direct, though, but one that was still good, nevertheless, indeed, though. Obviously, they did highlight these games are coming to Game Pass. They also talked about how these games are coming to the PS5 and everything. No word on the Switch 2 versions at this time, though. It's not out of the realm of possibility, but it doesn't sound like, but there's no word about a Switch 2 version at the very least. I know that Switch 2 is getting the Indiana Jones and the Great Circle and Fallout 4, though, but outside of that, nothing yet from them indeed. But in either case, it's still nice that they're highlighting it, nevertheless, that they're bringing these games over. Again, their multi-platform approach is still a mixed bag, at least for me, though, but it seems to be paying off very well for Microsoft in need and all. So I guess with this one Direct now, we now have to see what Sony does with their next State of Play, whenever that be. And of course, in the Nintendo Direct, of course, from Nintendo. And that will be very curious to see how much of the Switch 2 that they focus on with the first Direct of this year and all. So in either case, I definitely thought this was a good Developers Direct. Nothing special, but still good, nevertheless and all. Okay, this concludes this My 2 Cent video for this week. And again, these are my opinion. What are yours? What are your thoughts about this rumor of the possibility that Resident Evil Code Veronica and possibly Resident Evil 5 could get the remake treatment? Do you believe these rumors are true? Do you think a remake of Resident Evil Code Veronica should happen at all? Do you think it could be announced this year? And do you think Resident Evil 5 should get the remake treatment? And if that one does get it, do you think Resident Evil 6 should get one at all? What are your thoughts about this retail listing for the Switch 2 version of Borderlands 4? Do you think this retail listing is legitimate? Do you think we'll see the game on February 27th? Or do you think this is either nothing but a placeholder, or do you think they may be off in terms of this retail listing and all? What are your thoughts about the Circana numbers that have come out for this month and all? Were you surprised to see the Switch 2 seem to be doing very well? Indeed. Were you kind of surprised to see Metroid Prime 4 Beyond make it at the number 7 the spot in any way? Were there any other games you would have liked to see make it onto that list and all? And what are your thoughts about the Xbox Developers Direct, though? Do you think this Developers Direct was good? Do you think it was bad? Do you think was it like some good, some bad and all? Were there any other games that stood out that you liked and all? Whether it's Fable, Beasts of Reincarnation, Forza Horizon 6, or even Double Fine's new game in any way? Do you agree with what I said in this video? Do you disagree? Do you have a difference of opinion? As always, sound off in the comment section below. Let me know what you think. And if you do like this video, I hope you hit the like button. I would appreciate it. And I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you do, make sure you hit the bell icon for notifications of any new videos I put up. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to, and feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You can do it through PayPal Me, Patreon, or Steam Labs. Links will be in the description of this video, so you can watch this either on YouTube or Patreon. And I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that'll be soon. Until then, from Southern California, I wish you all a good day then. Bye!